Hey there. Welcome to the Kingdom Wealth Warriors podcast. And tonight we are discussing prosperity principles. If you are new to this channel, thank you for subscribing. Thanks for being here. Tonight we are going to get straight to the point. We're going to talk about characteristics of a scarcity mindset. If you don't know who I am, I'm Deb Howard, your abundant life coach. Listen, I help amazing people, faith-based people, basically, entrepreneurs, faith-based believers, overcome limiting beliefs about life, about money, even about their faith, so that they can live their most abundant life. But before we get to that, yes, let me remind you of something. Listen, I got a summit coming. If you didn't know, and I don't know how you couldn't know, but just in case you didn't know, I have a summit coming, the Kingdom Wealth Warriors Summit. It is happening, guys, probably in less than 6 weeks, October 19th. 2024 here in the beautiful city of Houston, Texas. You can be a part of it. All you have to do is go to the website that not that one, but this one, debhowardonline.com. You can also go to wealthwarriorsarise.com to register. Listen, it's not too late. It's not too late to join us. It's going to be an amazing time. Amazing speakers, amazing information. Listen, if you're ready to build wealth and prepare yourself for the future, this is the place to be. All right. So, characteristics of a scarcity mindset. Let's start off by sharing what is a scarcity mindset. Now, I know you've heard this before. I know you've heard people talking about it before. So let's get right to it. It's the constant belief that resources, especially money, right? But not limited to money, especially money, are limited and there's never enough to go around. Now, listen, a scarcity mindset is probably one of the most critical aspects that needs to be overcome so that you can build wealth. If you don't believe there's enough money in the earth for you, if you don't believe there's not enough time, there's not enough resources, there's not enough whatever, you're constantly going to struggle bringing into fruition the thing that you believe you desire. There's this perspective, the scarcity mindset. Listen, it influences everything, not just finances. So it's really important for us to identify it in ourselves and break that thing that's within us, okay? Because it cannot just affect us in a financial way, but it can affect how we approach our life, how we approach relationships, right? If you don't believe that there are enough good men in the earth, women, come on now, it's going to affect, right, your ability to attract what it is that you desire. So it can affect you in your work, in opportunities, in your family. Listen, not just finances. I know a lot of times when we consider the scarcity mindset, we limit it to money. And it's not just money. Listen, abundant life is not just about money, right? You need more than money to have that abundant life, right? Money helps now, don't get me wrong, but you need more than that, right? You need abundance in every area. So I will tell you, just from my perspective, that the scarcity mindset for me, and it's important for us to get our money story down, right? That's a whole nother thing. But if you work with me, that's one of the things that we come up with together, right? You need to know your money story. Now, my money story, right? I know that scarcity mindset started with me in childhood. I'm a Gen Xer. I had a big family, and there was never enough. Child, I had five brothers. There was never enough. Okay. Now, I didn't have, and I used to be jealous of that because I didn't have sisters. So I didn't have anyone to share clothes with or to have anyone to pass things down to me. So with five brothers, my three older brothers, they usually were able to share clothes, but I wasn't able. And so whatever my parents could afford, and as we got older, things got tighter. Another story, but there wasn't enough money, right? And so for me, And it seemed like, let me add this, it seemed like money was hard to come by. And so when I talk about that scarcity mindset, I'm really talking from experience because, yes, yes, I definitely fought with that. It was ingrained in my brain from childhood that there's just not enough. And when we didn't have enough, what did we do? We went to the government. No shame in that, right? But we did, because there wasn't enough, right, that we could get our hands on. And so we resorted to, food stamps and the Houston Food Bank here, right? Yeah, we'd go get a box of food, we'd get the government cheese. I know some of you are familiar with that, but sometimes that can affect us in a way to cause us to believe that that bubble that we grew up in is all there is, that there's no more that can be attained other than what I had or what my parents were able to get or what I saw them get, right? And so we really, really, really have to work on that abundant mindset, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But for me, yeah, there wasn't enough money. Listen, there weren't even enough bathrooms. There was one bathroom in a house for 8 people. Ha! That was a whole thing in itself. So when I talk about scarcity, it's that thing right there, right? When we think that there's not enough, when we believe, especially on a regular basis, right? That constant belief, right? Because I know sometimes we'll look at something and say, oh, there's not enough, not meaning that the supply is limited, but that I don't have it. So, what I'm talking about tonight is the mindset that believes there is not enough, right? That I can't to get it. And so, we're going to talk about some signs of that. So, maybe you'll identify yourself in some of these. And there are a lot of symptoms, there are a lot of signs to a scarcity mindset. But guess what? We're only going to talk about 3 or 4 tonight, right? Because we go on and on and on. So the first one I want to talk about is that hoarding. And not hoarding maybe like on the show Hoarders, but keeping old stuff, right? Now, this is something, if can I be honest, this is something that I have been dealing with the last couple of years, like in a heavy way. I live in a home where my parents lived with me. Now, both my parents, rest in peace, they're in their heavenly home. And so one of the things that I struggled with was getting rid of stuff. They lived with me, we probably 20 years, over 20 years. And so they had stuff, I had stuff, I bought stuff, they bought anyway, you get the picture. And so keeping those old unused items, right? Like clothes or household goods, just in case we need them, even when it causes clutter, right? That's definitely a symptom or a sign that there may be a scarcity mindset in place, because the reality is you can get more. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, why would I want to buy something that I already have? See, this is where it takes our logic, right? And probably help from the Holy Spirit, to tell you the truth, to really be able to identify what it is that I need in this season. There are some things that we're holding on to that's really keeping us in a place, if I can put it that way, keeping us in a place in the past. It's really keeping our mind, keeping our thoughts, even to some extent, keeping us in a place in the past, because we're not able to let go of those things, um, because of nostalgia. And it's nothing wrong with nostalgia. But many times that nostalgia is rooted in that desire to relive something that has already passed. I know, getting a little deep, but it's the truth. So we really have to, because I'm a logical person, y'all. So I really have to think through, why I'm doing something. And you have to do the same, because that scarcity mindset, that just in case I need it mindset, is really saying, I may not be able to get this again. I may have some old clothes that I haven't worn in 5, 10 years, but I'm not gonna get rid of it just in case I need it. Well, you know what? There's plenty of whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, whether it's a dress jack, whatever it is, right? Furniture, whatever it is, there is more. And if you need it at some point, then you'll be able to get it. But when we hold on to things that are old, that just that and when I say old, I don't mean just old like old. I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, junk, clutter, things that you're not using, things that just keep clutter in your environment. And guess what? I'll share something else with you. That clutter can cause you not to flow in your creativity. You know, some of you are wondering why you're stuck. I'm stuck, I'm a creative person, but I'm not able to flow. Sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes it's because, we have clutter all around us. We have all these remnants from the past and we haven't moved forward yet. So, one sign, right? That's our first one that we're going to talk about tonight is that hoarding, right? Keeping stuff just in case. The second thing that might signal a scarcity mindset is overworking for fear of losing income. Listen, taking on multiple jobs or side gigs, even when you know it's going to lead to burnout. Now, some of you that have heard my story know that at one point I was working several jobs early in my journey to get out of debt and get my whole life together, right? I did. I did work several jobs. I worked at Target. I had a full-time job. I was working at Target. I had, I don't know how many little side gig work at home jobs. Now I know work at home jobs are popular now, but back, well, I guess they were getting popular then too, right? I'm thinking 2010, 12, in those years, they were getting popular. Anyway, long story short, I was working, I probably was working some days 19 to 20 hours and just getting a few hours sleep. I had a full-time job. Got off work at 4, come straight home because I had a phone job that started at 5. And it was from 5 to midnight. It was a whole full-time job. And I had some other jobs, right? And yes, I had a purpose. And so this is what I would say to you. If you are going to do that, then make sure you have a plan and a strategy for how long that's going to last. That's not That shouldn't be a long-term plan, right? It's hard. I know a lot of us have to work 2 jobs. A lot of people feel, or have a side business. But if it's going to lead to burnout, right? If it's going to cost you your health, it's not worth it. So when we talk about overworking, right? I'm talking about people that do have maybe enough to make it, right? But because of that fear, right now we're talking about fear, which is closely related to that scarcity mindset. Because of fear, I want to make sure, right? So I'm going to work all these jobs. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm just going to work. And in that work, right, we lose life. The whole purpose of financial freedom, of abundant living is abundance, right? Being able to have choices, because that's really what abundance is. It's having choices. And so, yeah, we can do that for a short amount of time, but we don't want that to be a permanent thing. And we don't want to go into this type of situation, taking on multiple jobs or gigs or side businesses and all that without a plan, right? Without a plan. How long am I going to have to do this? Because when we have a plan, it keeps us motivated. I know I only have to do this X amount of time, or I'm going to get this business going. If you have your own business, right? That's different. If you have your own business, you still want to have a plan as to how I'm going to grow this business and a strategy so that I don't feel the burnout, so that I don't feel like all I'm doing is working, right? All I'm doing is working. All right. And then The third example we're going to use tonight as a symptom of a scarcity mindset is believing success is limited. Now, those of you who are entrepreneurs, ah, man, I know that you probably know people or have experienced people, if not yourself. You may have experienced this in yourself. Believing success is limited, feeling threatened by other people's success, thinking that it limits your chance to succeed. Now, this is a very common thing, and it is a strong indicator that a scarcity mindset is at work. Believing that, hey, that person is stealing my customers, you know, and or they're doing all this stuff. It's not going to be enough for me. They're doing the same kind of thing that I do. There's not going to be enough for me. Listen, let me use myself as an example. I am a financial coach. And as such, guess what? There are plenty of people that do the same thing that I do. But that does not take away from the people that God has called to me. And so we have to be confident, right? I'm sorry, again, I'm talking about that fear, right? Because even that is connected to fear, right? Believing that success is limited, right? That's connected to fear because I'm believing that because of them, right? I'm afraid of them. They're taking all the business, they're taking all the customers, right? That's a scarcity mindset. There are, I don't know, 8 billion people on the earth. And I don't know anybody yet that has 8 billion customers. I could be wrong. But for the most part, right, there's enough people on the earth. There's enough business. There's enough money. There's enough of everything. And so we have to really work on expanding our thinking, getting that abundant mindset so that we can continue to grow without um, showing those symptoms of a scarcity mindset. So, three things we're going to do. Number one, we're going to adopt a growth mindset, right? We're going to adopt a growth mindset. And how are we going to do that? One way that will help you develop a growth mindset is setting goals. Now, if you've been with me a while, you know we had this whole series earlier in the year about goal setting. Goal setting is very important. And you want to set not outrageous goals, but maybe at least one outrageous goal, right? We do want a stretch goal there, right? Because goal setting, planning, right, setting goals and then being focused on achieving your goals will help keep you focused on who? You. And it will keep your eyes off of the competition, right? Set goals, right? Whether it's for your business, whether it's for your personal life. Listen, take some time and dream. And you don't have to wait until New Year. Now, I know we're getting close to the end of the year. And so we'll start hearing about all the vision board parties and goal planning events, etc. Great. But I want you to be in the habit of constantly in that place of goal setting, especially when it comes to your finances. If you're trying to get your finances in order, first step is start goal setting. Start setting goals for yourself, right? Once you evaluate the situation, you want to start setting goals. But goal setting, and this is just one technique I'm giving you tonight, but this is one thing that will help you develop a growth mindset, because as you're setting goals, you'll start increasing those goals, right? You'll start doing things that will allow you to expand and go a little further. In other words, grow. Right? It's going to cause you to grow. So you want to adopt a growth mindset. The second technique to help us overcome scarcity thinking is face our financial fears. Yeah. So a lot of times when we struggle with our finances, one thing that usually comes across in the conversation is that fear of dealing with the finances, right? Of looking at the finances. Now, you probably heard me say in other videos, if you've been around, that one action step you can take is just keep track of what you're spending, to go look at your bank account on a regular basis or your financial plan on a regular basis, right? Face your financial fears. Listen, this was such a thing for me. It really was. This was such a thing for me. I hated opening bills. Can I say I hated it? I hated opening bills. I hated doing my finances every month. I hated paying bills because I knew that there was going to be a deficit. And I too thought, well, why do I need to go through all this when I already know I don't have enough money? Because it's yours, number one. Because you're a steward, number two. And because it's your responsibility to know where you are. So the only way we're going to overcome that tendency of being afraid to look, being afraid to check the bank account, being afraid to deal with our finances, being afraid to whatever, is to face it, right? If you don't have enough, you don't have enough. Not having enough is not going to beat you up. Okay. Yes, you have to face it, but the more you do it, the more control you gain over it, right? Overcoming the fear of it is the first step. And so I really want you, so I'm gonna tell you again, review your finances daily. If you are struggling right now with your finances, this is an easy step, right? I want you to keep track of everything you spend. If you spend a nickel, you ought to have it written down somewhere so that you know where it went. And at the end of the week, you will be able to look at everything that you spend, every bill that you pay. Listen, get very diligent with the resources that God has given you. All right. But face your fears. And if it's something, if it's just as easy as if you're not in a place to do all the things, then do that one thing, which is look at it every day. All right, you got a bank account, you look at that balance every day. You look at everything that comes out every day. All right, if you're spending cash, you're gonna have to write it down, right? Write it down or take a picture. You got a cell phone, take a picture of everything that you spent, right? Really become aware, right, of where your money is going. Take a picture of the bill. Yeah, I said it. Take a picture when you're going to pay the payday loan or the pawn shop, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, right? Because what you're doing is facing. I'm ready to face the thing that I've been afraid to deal with. All right. So that's the second step. And then the third step that we're going to talk about tonight, which I've been talking about, is creating a financial plan. Right. So once we face our fears, we're adopting a growth mindset. So we're goal setting. Now I want to really get a well thought out plan of how I'm going to use my money. And maybe in the beginning, the money is telling you how it's going to be used, right? Money talking to you, money telling you, look, I'm going here, I'm going there. That's okay. You're going to keep doing that on a regular basis because sooner or later, you're going to start seeing you're going to start seeing some extra. You're going to start seeing some flexibility and you are going to be the one in charge, right? That's the goal. Money is not the boss of me. I'm the boss of money, right? You are the boss of your money. You are the boss of your life. And so we want to develop an abundant mindset, right? A growth mindset that allows us to be in control, that sees more than enough everywhere. That's not focused on the competition, right? Or what's going on, or even all the extra junk in our homes, right? Because I am going to have a clearing of that because it represents things that I no longer need and I don't need to keep things that I no longer need because if I do need them, I will be able to get them. I will be able to obtain them, right? I don't have to keep things just in case. Yeah, that is a scarcity mindset. All right. So, that's what I got for you tonight. Listen, that's enough. I feel like I said a mouthful. I do feel like it. I hope that, I hope that you were blessed. I hope that you heard something. I hope that if that scarcity mindset is there, then you were able to identify maybe one of the three things or more. Listen, we're probably going to pick this up next week because there's so much that we can talk about when it comes to a scarcity mindset. And I think this is very important for us to really recognize so that when we see it operating in our life, listen, we can call it out. You can call it out in yourself. Listen, I am not going to allow this kind of thinking to be pervasive in my mind. I am going to do what it takes in order to overcome. So listen, thank you for joining me on tonight. Thanks for watching this replay. Listen, don't forget the summit that's coming up. You can go to Deb Howard Online. Let me scroll that at the bottom again. You know, I get so bad about that, but yeah, you can go to debhowardonline.com. You can register for the summit. You can check out some other things that I have available for you if you want to have a one-on-one call. Listen, I'll get on the phone with you. You know, I have a complimentary call and a discovery call. Let's talk about where you are. Let's see what you need and how I can help you overcome your limiting beliefs so you can live your most abundant life. Have a great day.